Oakland Coliseum was, and once before Mount Davis, it was a good place to watch a game.
Yeah.
So
it's still, it's like, I think Oakland Coliseum's curse was that it wasn't bad enough. Right? Like all these old like cookie cutter stadiums are just so bad. But the Coliseum is just like, this is not bad enough. And so there wasn't that, they weren't like running around like their hair was on fire in the 90s to be like, we need a new stadium. This is impossible to continue.
Yeah, that's a great point, because like if you think of all the multi-purpose stadiums, Three River Stadium, Riverfront, Atlanta, Fulton County, Veterans Stadium, even RFK, I would consider that. It was Oakland Coliseum technically was a multi-purpose stadium because the Raiders played there.
Yep.
Jack Murphy Stadium or Qualcomm, whatever they call it. It was the best out of all of those.
Yeah.
For baseball.
Yep.
Right. So I mean, that's a not, and it's going to advance further, I guarantee it, than any of those cookie cutters in this tournament.
Yeah, you're right, because people know it and people, yeah.
And the last few years, the reputation of the whole it's like the Baker Bowl. When the Baker Bowl was built in 1895, was the most advanced stadium in baseball. But by 1938, when they moved in with the A's at Shibe Park, it was a piece of crap, falling apart.
Yeah, the feral cats and the possums don't help,
No.
I had, if fans of my Twitter feed will know that there was a very small kitten that a bunch of people had seen under the third base dugout that was living there for about 2 homestands. And at one point I was able to feed her half a hot dog in the middle of a game. Unfortunately, the next day, like I brought like a cage. I was like, let's try and capture her. And then fortunately, I think the next away game, the Oakland Pound came and found her and caught her.
Wow.
And so somebody adopted her. But yeah, I've also seen a lot of adult feral cats, especially if you hang out long enough after the game like I do. They'll be out in the outfield in the bleachers nibbling on the food that's left.
Better than 10,000 seagulls.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Well,
so, Mark, have you seen the renderings of the proposed stadium for Howard Terminal?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Where do you think that would fit in?
And as far as rankings are concerned,
yeah, if they built that Howard Terminal Stadium, what do you think of it? Where do you think that would fit in amongst other stadiums and stuff? And you can be honest. You can be honest.
The owner of the A's,
John Fisher.
Yeah. I'm spacing on his name. The architect. He's a star architect. The guy who designed the Howard Terminal, Markle something. He's a big deal. The guy that designed the Howard Terminal.
Ingalls? Is it Ingalls or something like that?
Ingalls, yeah.
Something like that?
Ingalls something. Yeah. But he's a star, is what they call a star architect. I hate that word, but he's a star architect, right? He designs all these modern buildings. They're all over Europe, and they're cool. Their signature is like they're glass with the patios that you have ferns and grass growing on and all that kind of thing, right? So, it's to each his own as far as architecture style is concerned. So Fisher liked this guy and he hired him to design the stadium. So it's definitely different.
Yep.
It would not be like any other ballpark in baseball, which gives us uniqueness, which definitely give bonus points to.
How is that? Like what difference do you see? Like what makes it unique? Like
well, I mean, you've seen the drawing. I wish you could put one up right now. How the ramp goes, the park goes all the way up from the ground,
like the
all
rooftop
the way up
park. The rooftop,
the
park.
top, and it's supposed to be like a park that's open all year round. I don't know how they're going to kick people out of there.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's all unique. And it looked like at one point, the original drawings looked like almost like the land of Lord, the Lord of the Rings where the little people live in the hills.
Yeah, it's like kind of
have a
built
bunch-
into the hill. Yeah, it's
right.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
a bunch of little, like you go in there and go to like some bar in the, it's definitely unique. I would rank it. But I think that, and you gotta love that the fact that they're integrating the whole crane down there.
Yeah.
Howard
Yeah,
Terminal.
I think it'd be
Yeah.
really cool too. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I thought they could have. Now, I understand they didn't want it to be Oracle / AT&T, whatever park you want to call it.
Yep.
Two.
Yeah.
They didn't
Yep.
want to mirror it. As far as being splash home run hits and things like that. But I mean, let's be realistic. If you look at your ballpark rankings, where would you rank Great American Ballpark compared to AT&T / Oracle Park and PNC Park in Pittsburgh?
Below,
like
I feel
much
like
lower.
Oracle-
Yeah.
I feel like
Yeah,
Oracle
well,
and
don't-
PNC are like the
Right.
standards, right? Yeah.
Yeah, well, Cincinnati, the Great American Ballpark's right on the river too, right?
To
There's
be
splash
fair,
hit possible. What's that?
but it's also on the other side. Yeah. I mean, we'll see.
It's right on
I think
the
if they, it's right on the river, but also the river in Cincinnati is just dominated by that freeway that they built
Yeah.
there. So
Yeah.
it's right on the river. It's also right on the freeway. If they listen, and now it feels like an even more big if now than it has in a while. If they do build a Howard Terminal, they'll build the stadium first, and all these new renderings show it surrounded by all the new buildings and all the new housing and stuff. And that stuff won't get built for a while, sort of like how the stuff that they built at the Giants didn't get built. And so originally it will be right on the waterfront, but surrounded by train tracks and a bunch of empty parking lots. And I think that you're right. It will have it'll be a similar kind of thing to not Three River Stadium, to the Great American Ballpark. But I think if they build out that neighborhood that they want to build out there too. And what's nice is it's only 3 blocks from all these restaurants and stuff that are also on the waterfront at Jack London Square.
Yeah, love that place.
I think that's the hope, is that it'll be kind of like, it'll feel like that, because I mean that the pinnacle of ballparks in my mind, it's just because I was a kid in Chicago, is Wrigley Field, where it's in a neighborhood.
Yeah,
it's in a neighborhood. What would be so much fun to me as a kid was you'd be walking around, as a little kid, I didn't know where I was, so I didn't know what street is what street, or whatever. So I'd just be walking downtown amongst all these brownstones, and you turn one corner and it would look like all the other blocks, but all of a sudden at the end of the block, you could see the back of the scoreboard. It said, "Welcome to Wrigley Field." And you're like, "Oh my God," it just like appeared in the middle of nowhere, And so what I really hope, I really hope is that if they build it, they can build that neighborhood around it, and it just becomes part of that neighborhood in a way that is closer to, I think, what they have at in Boston and in San Francisco and these other places.
Yeah,
But
I mean, you'd love to have your all your housing and maybe some office space, but everything on the ground level is all shopping or restaurants and bars and things like that. And then floor 2
the Hal the Hot Dog Guy pub right outside, right up front.
Right. So back to the Howard Terminal. I like it. I would have. It's got some great things going for it. The view would be tremendous. You got part of the Oakland Hills. You got downtown there. You can catch some of a lot of the seats can catch the bay. But the only minor thing I would do, maybe it would have to be a 490-foot shot, is just have the possibility of landing in the bay. Maybe once every 5 years. Right? It doesn't have to be 90 splash hits a year. It doesn't even have to be 5. Just once every 5 years. If there's somebody who could have the possibility to poke one.
Mark, they'd have to write that into the EIR. They'd have to write that into the environmental impact report. Oh,
yeah, I know.
That would delay
another
2-year delay.
Right?
That once every 5 year splash hit.
Right.
we'd have to get more investigations.
Well, I
I
got
swear
to.
to God, there's a part of the environmental impact report. There was somebody said that peregrine falcons nest in these old cranes now that are disused, and they're like, what happens if a ball hits a peregrine falcon? And the EIR report was like, this would have to be an 850 home run that was still 100 feet off the ground. We found minimal impacts to peregrine falcons.
Like somebody actually took thought to it and responded.
Yeah, they
to
had to write that.
Right.
They had to write that. Yeah.